A lot of artists or a lot of designers or even a lot of creative people who are in advertising, entertainment would agree that, to be honest, before NFT, the only way to really commercialize your artistic expression, you can either be a fine artist and put it on canvas and sell them as art pieces, but then it's hard to track royalties. Or that's what most people do. You become a designer, you become a advertiser, you become a marketer. In some way, your artistic expression is always attached with a product or a service.
That's right.
Right? And for the longest time, I was making illustration, licensing them to different wine labels. That was like in the beginning of my career. I remember I was doing branding design. I started to realize, oh, actually I could make logos, and that's a more scalable format. But again, even I'm making logo, like you can make logo and style guides, and you can have marketing campaigns. The creative expression is still attached with a organization or commercial entity.
That's right.
And so I would make a really great campaign with a really, beloved icon. And later on, if the company gets sold, chances are the new company might still use it, or they might use the larger company who might just absorb the company, and the amount of work that has put in will be irrelevant. And so what I started to see is the artistic expression later on become a consumable and also disposable item, which started to become a question to me. Is there a way that it still enables people to create?
That's right.
But the creation itself actually has a value.
That's right. So it's kind of similar to, so artists, for example, it's either, a branding campaign or a one-time marketing campaign that is probably paid at one time or over a certain period of time. And when that's concluded, it's done. And then if you're in fine arts, then, it's, you draw a piece of canvas, and even though it might be a higher price tag, it still is a one-time, purchase, and whoever purchases it owns it. And then after, if they want to sell it, it doesn't actually tie back to the artist. So NFTs are, in a way, enabling artists like you to kind of own the rights, so you can have royalties, more like the music industry, right?
And the royalty comes from the initial smart contract that you sign when you're minting your artwork. And the other really wonderful thing about the non-fungible token is that because it's non-fungible, meaning that you can do one-on-ones, you can also do multiple editions, right? So, I mean, it's fascinating to me, because if in the past, if I create a digital piece on the computer and people ask me like, oh, which one is the original piece? I'm like, what do you mean by original piece? It's like, the original creation, your initial piece. I'm like, well, but it's created in a computer. But then they'll be like, how do I know it's an original piece, right? And you can download it from the internet, and it's a JPEG. And they're like, why should I spend money on a JPEG? Well, the NFT is enable that authenticity, and the truest connection between the collector and the artist. So if you purchase the, say, one-on-one from the artist, which you did, and thank you, I will transfer this art piece to your wallet, and that entire transaction is transparent, and it's also public. Anybody could trace it. And the idea, I think, of this piece of technology that I think is very important here is it gives this ability for people to trace back the provenance of the original art piece.
That's right. And that's what's so amazing about just blockchain in general. It's an immutable database that can be used for multiple industries. It can be used for healthcare. It can be used for, supply chain. And now it's being used for artists such as yourself to be able to track that provenance of the origination of the piece of art, and then to be able to let communities such as you sustain themselves over the long term. So it's an amazing thing.
It is. And the other thing I think it's also was surprising to me just in the last year or so, is that you're able to actually make a human-to-human connection through this new piece of technology in a way that I just recently did a job on Maker's Place, and it was fascinating how you could also connect with your collectors, or whether it's in person or offline. I was at NFT NYC, and I remember I was just finishing a panel discussion, and then there was a few people come up to me and say, "Yiying, I'm one of your collector. I had your red panda. I had your whale," and it was amazing to actually get the chance to thank the people who has supported you in person.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because if you think about it, in the past, if you purchase a piece, from the gallery, unless you're going to like the opening show, you get the chance to actually talk to the artist, let alone the artist already passed away. But in this case, there is a real life exchange that's happening. And I think that's really special.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.